You from New Jersey?
I guess there are some other kind of, supernatural and disastrous kind of shit like the Hindenburg, and a real tie-in to kind of a couple things for our kind of haunted New Jersey. And I guess, spoiler alert, but next, or for our first field trip in October, we are going to be trying to keep like a haunted New Jersey theme. Jersey, of course, is a lot of famously haunted kind of shit, and we definitely want to check out one of those for our, first October on location episode. But one of the real cool ones, kind of like the Hindenburg with the famous radio connection, one of the earliest, famous radio, and which, in early 19 American, like the 30s, that was the entertainment. So, like, one of the all-time, one of, like, the earliest blockbuster entertainment moments in American culture was the Orson Welles War of the Worlds, radio broadcast about the Martian contact in New Jersey. And it's still like a famous site in New Jersey. But it was, of course, Orson Welles did a whole radio broadcast pretending that there was alien contact, and everybody in the world, it was on Halloween, and everybody that listened to it thought it was real, and there was fucking mass hysteria because they thought we were getting attacked by aliens, like for real. And it was just obviously like a, conceptual, broadcast by the genius Orson Welles, and I'm not sure the year, but somewhere in the 30s. But that's like a real famous site at Grover's Mill. That's like a real famous site still, and has some, there wasn't really, but I think there are places in Jersey that have, like...
They actually have a report of a spaceship, I don't know if it was the 70s or 80s, landing in Hudson County Park in, I guess that's North Bergen. It was actually
No, for sure, there's been a couple different sightings. Now, was it just some fucking hippie dozed off his face on LSD sitting in the park?
Yeah,
it
supposedly landed in the park, and then when it took off, it broke some of the windows in some of the high-rises over there because it was velocity or whatever.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, there's all sorts of, there's like lots of places in Jersey that have these spooky stories around them where there's UFO sightings, ghost sightings and stuff, like Clinton Road over there in, West Milford is like that famous stretch where there's like a million ghost sightings. There's some weird, you can put your car in neutral and it goes backwards.
And it goes backwards.
Yeah, that whole fucking... Like, it's just like this, there's been UFO sightings there and whatnot.
Yeah. Well, they have a place in Clifton called the Portal to Hell. It's like this tunnels and stuff. They have in Alpine the Devil's Tower. It's a tower made of stone that they say is haunted.
I've been to the Devil's Tower. I was always way too big of a puss to go anywhere near the gates of hell. That's like it's like an underground fucking tunnel system that, you know what I mean, kids that are way tougher than me from Clifton fucking went into. Did you ever, you're from that area, did you ever get in, get in the gates of hell?
You know what? I didn't even know about it because I was like, I was in my 40s, like when I moved to Clifton, but my kid mentioned it one time. And I lived right near it. And I'm like, what the fuck? So I started looking into it. It is a bunch of tunnels. I don't think you can get to them, though. But it's in Clifton. And it's, supposed to be a real wacky place. Like all these tunnels lead in. I don't know if there's train tunnels to underground stuff.
Yeah. Underground bunkers.
There's a river. There's a park over where I live. Weaselbrook Park. And somebody got swept away doing construction there, a couple of years ago. And all the water goes under the streets. So Clifton's a weird place with a lot of underground. People told me way back in the old days, they walked through all the water underground to these,
interesting,
to these pipes and stuff.
Okay. That is very interesting. And, the Gates of Hell, I think that it used to be, they might have closed it now because it has become like a real tourist kind of thing, but it used to be open enough where you could sneak in there. But I definitely did the Devil's Tower thing. That is a place that you can just go to and fuck around with.
And there's this place called Demon's Alley in West Milford. It's a section with all boarded up houses. I don't know. There's a couple of houses that murders happen in Jersey that are supposed to be real creepy, and like one of them, supposedly the cop went into the murder scene, came out, and immediately hung himself, like just weird.
Yeah, for sure. As well with the whole Mafia ties to Jersey, like the Clinton Road, actually, like I was talking about. That's like a famous, like haunted by all the fucking people that the Mafia buried there back in the day. And there's other, like the whole Meadowlands is, fucking known for all that stuff.
There's a courthouse in Hackensack. That's where the county courthouse in Hackensack.
I've been there before, brother. Definitely.
Yeah, right across is an old church, and there's a cemetery there. And I was reading some of the history. Like, they burnt people at the stake right there, man, in the fucking town square back in the day.
In the Hackensack Town Square.
Right there, man, on the green. It's called the Green, and it's the church. Right out there, man, they burnt people. Like,
burn them at the stake.
100-something years ago, but
yeah.
still, they burnt that mother. Like, that's insane.
Yeah, no, I mean, New Jersey has, like, it is one of the, like I said, just from Waterloo Village and the colonial experience, it was one of the first in America. It's like, one of the original 13 colonies, and it was one of the, close to New York City, one of the first, like, early ports, but there's been activity in New York, in the New Jersey area, literally since, like, the, 1500s. So it's been a lot of the early Western settlers, so all of that, all the craziness that white people have brought to the have brought to America since fleecing it from the natives. It's all, like, New Jersey is tied into all of that historically, you know what I mean? Because it's such a direct point for Europeans to come to America and then make their way to Boston or Salem or wherever they were, make their way to Salem or Jamestown or wherever they were going. But, Jersey plays like a big part of it all.
All the streets have those names, like Van Wettering Place and Van Wright this, and all Dutch. And, we got Dutch Hill in Clifton in one area. Because you see the people were first Dutch and then French, and then, so it's been through the gauntlet of
for sure.
white different people.
Definitely. It's got like an old historic ties. But and then I guess
once in a while they'll throw an Indian word in once in a while, like hocus or something.
Yeah, there was a couple made it through, but you're right. It's mostly all named after the European settlers that severely wronged their people, but. I guess the other real big one, though, in terms of the haunted folklore, and I've mentioned it a couple times so far, but the Pine Barrens, as well, most known by dopes like me from The Sopranos. However, I guess really most known in Jersey, as well as the Big Forest Land, but really most known in Jersey as the birthplace or the home place of the famous New Jersey Devil, which is, of course, where our hockey team is named after, the New Jersey Devils or whatnot. But, like, the Jersey Devil is apparently the spirit that inhabits the Pine Barrens, and the legend being you can never camp there alone, or certain death from this kangaroo fucking shaped, devil will surely ensue. So that's like one of the real famous haunted areas. And that's down in South Jersey, so I've never been there to the Pine Barrens. Have you ever been there?
Parts of it, but not in search of anything, or not to the real, like Leeds Point, supposed to be where the Jersey Devil was born.
Yes.
So.
And like you said, the Pine Barrens, like I said, it is like a huge, expansive forest reserve. So it is, fucking real miles and miles long or whatnot. So I'm sure there are spooky hiking trails and whatnot. But you're right, there is like the specific Leeds Point, which is where the Jersey Devil is from. And that would be a pretty badass opening trip in honor of our spooky Jersey Halloween.
Come back to Jersey, you moron!